So now, people, it's a day now until we've beaten the Scousers 2-1 Anfield, historic. 10 years since we've done it. Heavily elated. I literally walked in this morning, I even tweeted saying something about the air just felt a little bit nicer. I felt like the air was easier to breathe this morning. Had a little pep in my step. But I think it's now still time. As I think for the rest of the week, we're going to milk this. I think seeing a Liverpool meltdown, the fans in disarray, a rival going through a crisis. I know it sounds crazy to say because obviously they're reigning champions, but even still, there's one thing winning a game, and there's another it being against the rivals and seeing them go into complete meltdown. It's what football is about. It's what rivalry is about. I think that's one of the most sweetest things about yesterday. But now United, I think, have a bit of an opportunity and a chance, because what we don't want this to be, just like almost like Chelsea was and games in the past, for it to be a false dawn. Because if United can't galvanise themselves and kick on from a result like that yesterday, then when will we? And that's the question, because I thought today, you know what? Normally wait a couple of days to do another video. I thought, let's talk about what we might have learned about different things, what we learned about Amorim, what we learned about the opposition, what we learned about the league in general and its current makeup. What did we learn about certain players? And also we touch into a little bit of statistics and data, but for me, obviously stats, data does tell a story. Someone famous said it's like a bikini. It shows you a lot, but it doesn't show you everything. But I think it's still one of them games, if you're Manchester United, you're in a bit of a rut. You're still trying to figure things out. I don't really care about what the stats and data look like too much when it comes to winning at Anfield. You take it every time. You take it as a positive. What you do want to see is United kick on from it and start winning the games against the likes of Brighton and Forest, which is usually what we've actually struggled with the most. I think United have been better, especially under Amorim, in terms of performance-wise and even results, against the bigger teams, where we're able to defend with a 5 and break out the talented personnel, where we've got space to run into and space to kind of operate. Because if you give the likes of Mbumo, Cunha, even like Bruno Fernandes, Sesko, when he comes on, you've got serious talent there, and you've got an attacking level of talent that if you do give them the opportunity to kind of like be almost like a release valve like Cunha was yesterday, and attack and express themselves when they're not bunkered in trying to play against low blocks that are making it difficult. That's why you've seen us excel so much. I think United for the last few years now have been better as a transitional team. And I think that's why when we play against the bigger sides, we seem to perform better and excel better. And also, it could be a bit of a motivation factor, because whether you like to believe it or not, United have some really good players. So the performances are in there, the capabilities are in there. It's just about getting that squeezed out week in, week out. Because I think we learned that, I know it sounds basic in terms of a tactical tweak and an adaptation to what you're probably trying to see in the game, but Amorim did make one. He abandoned going long. He didn't even compete for stuff. I think that kind of surprised him. He thought 6'5" Sesko is going to start him. Food and drink for the likes of Van Dijk and Kanate, because he loved playing against physical strikers where they can kind of get touched tight to someone. Cunha's not that type of player. And I think he purposely said to Lammens, who I thought was brilliant as well, looks solid, looks assured. I think he looks really promising. And it was, we want you just to hit it long. We're going to play percentages. We're away at Anfield. We're not going to play into their hands and try and build up from the back when we don't have the personnel and capabilities to do that. Whether you like to believe it or not, but Amorim's not shown the ability to really coach a build-up that well. So we have become a bit of a direct team, and it's like, make yourself second balls, loose balls, latch onto those. Where you kind of have a bit of an overload in the middle, which Amorim did identify, because if you don't basically compete with the first contact, and obviously identifying that Salah doesn't track back or doesn't tuck in out of possession as well, United had a numerical advantage there. We picked up second balls constantly, and then you've got the space for you allow your attacking talent and talented players to go and play. So you got to give credit where credit is due. It's just that whether we can play that way specifically or we can play well playing a little bit differently when we go against Saturday, we play against a Brighton. And then the following week, you're playing against Sean Dyche's, what it's looking like Nottingham Forest, and then you're playing against Thomas Frank's Spurs. Because that's the thing with the Premier League today. One problem that you have one week isn't the same problem you have the next. And that is why the best teams in the world and the best teams in the league are set up in such a way in terms of their system and game model that they're able to almost they're able to navigate different tests, different terms of like tactical systems that you're up against, different ways of playing, different game states, all sorts, that the tactical jargon that I know you all hate. And that's why you almost got to make your way of playing bulletproof, and you've got to almost be chameleon-like, because that is what the Premier League is definitely about today. So that win, you saw how happy I was about it. I'm buzzing. I still am. But it's made me even more nervous to see what happens against a team that we struggle against quite often in Brighton on the weekend. Because I believe if we do win that game and perform well, then I feel like you can start to get a little bit hopeful and finally get a little bit giddy. That's 3 wins in a row, and 2 of them against really good opposition. And one of them included Sunderland, who went on beat Wolves 2-0 on the weekend and actually sitting pretty. So that result can end up looking better in hindsight as well. But I think that's what I did learn yesterday is the players do receive quite a lot of flack, especially from people that are quite defensive of the manager, saying the players don't work hard enough, they're throwing another team under the bus, they're not good enough, they're rubbish, the quality isn't there. When I'm watching games, I don't see that. United, believe it or not, have really talented players, and I don't see them mailing it in. I don't see them not working hard. I don't see them not downing tools or that typical cliches. I don't see that. I saw, to a man, outright joy from the players. Celebration, hugging each other, togetherness, team morale looked really high. They knew how big that win was yesterday, and that didn't look to me like players that don't care. No chance. When I look at the Premier League today, when I've looked at the Premier League this season and the quality throughout it, and I look at our personnel group, I don't think there's any reason why this team can't finish. I predicted us to finish 6th. I think even now that I'm looking, I think top 5 is a possibility. We're not navigating Europe like our other rivals that we're competing against. We've got 1 game a week, keep our players fresh, longer trading periods within the week to prepare for matches on the weekend. I don't think there's any excuse for us not to finish around there. And I believe this team's capable of that. Cunha, maverick footballer. I learned how amazing he's going to be and how pivotal he's going to be as a release valve in the big games. Difficult to get the ball off, skillful, 2-way dribbler, powerful, maverick, got a bit of shithousery about him, great ball striker, doesn't shy away from the challenge, got the personality. He's the potential to be a serious kind of cult-like figure at this club. I know the goals haven't come yet, the assists haven't come yet, but they will come. And then you got the efficiency monster on the other side, and Bumo, which is what he does, what he says on the tin. He scores and he assists. He creates chances and he gets shots off. Doesn't matter how he does it. But players like that are deadly. There's a reason why I call him Mo Salah light. Them players still have serious value. Not the one that played like he was in Soccer Aid on yesterday. And I also learned that United might have found themselves a keeper. Because I was talking about the stat before I speak about Lammens, because I'm looking at the stats here. The stats are we had 36% possession. I actually thought it was lower than that. Liverpool had 2.75 XG to our 1.5. We had half the XG that they had. They had 19 shots. We still had 12 and 4 shots on target. They only had 2 more shots on target with 6. We had 5 big chances and they had 5 big chances. We equalled them on big chances, believe it or not. We only completed 200 passes in the game though, and only 68% of our passes completed. And that was because we were very direct, going very long, and all our attack was mainly based on going quick and fast. But if you look at the stats and the numbers, there's some that look okay there in terms of the big chances. When you look at, obviously, possession, expected goals against, and you look at the type of passer in the football being played, then it doesn't look that good. It doesn't look like anything that could sustainably get you results in other games. But I think in an Anfield fixture, it doesn't matter. That is why I'm so intrigued to see what happens against Brighton and against Forest, because we have a chance here to go on a serious run before the international break. And it's amazing what having a keeper that looks assured, stands big in the goal, doesn't hide when the ball swings in from corners. I feel like for the first time I feel confident that I've got a keeper in there that can deal with it. Emanating confidence to his defenders. I wonder if there's a feeling that we struck gold there with Lammens. But I think United could have basically gone 4 for 4. Sesko and Bumo. Sesko was brilliant when he came on, his cameo. There's so much to work with there. He's almost like a prototype lab-made striker, I think, Sesko, and he needs to realise that in himself. If he irons out the mental side of his game, how to use his body a little bit better. He's only young still and he grows. I think his ceiling is sky high. I think Sesko's been one of my favourite surprises, to be fair. I had a scepticism. I think that was the Hoyland PTSD. But I'm almost sure there's a player there. And Bumo we spoke about already, getting his goals and assists. That's what he does. He says what he says on the tin. I thought Amad Diallo was outstanding. Had a poor start to the season, social media gimmick. He locked himself away. He had a bereavement to deal with. He got his head down, and I think the last couple of weeks he's been excellent. Looked every bit of the best player at the club last year in terms of performance level. And he's an honest footballer. He works hard, attacks well, committed. He's honest. He's got an engine. You want players like that in your team. Technical ability, can keep possession. There's a reason why he's done one of the best young talents there is when he was at Atalanta. It's just about us trying to nurture that and create an environment for these players to succeed. I spoke about Maguire a little bit earlier as well on the podcast. People keep underselling a little bit, saying he's had a redemption arc and oh my God, he's back. I think that's a disservice to him. I think he's been pretty steady to solid for about over a couple of years now. From what I've told, he's an excellent professional, well loved in every dressing room that he's in. Sometimes you need characters and leaders like that in your dressing room. But we've learned that we can beat anyone. We learned that we've got the players to do it. We learned that we can adapt when needed. We learned that we can play well. But I still believe this weekend against Brighton and following on is going to show me more. I think that's when a serious litmus test starts, because United have shown themselves to be competitive and able to get results against the big six, against the top sides. It's always been the mid-table teams to lower that we've seemed to become unstuck, and that is what we need to get right first. And we'll have to see whether that happens. And I'm sure the stats will start to look a little bit better. But yes, Anfield, done. Victory. We enjoy it and we build to the weekend. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you next time.